I treated the dead patient. I thought I felt a pulse, but it was my thumb pulse instead. So it was my mistake, and I didn't get to another patient in time.
Son of a bitch, dude.
Hey.
I still love my job.
You did so well. Good job. You're, anyway.
She made it.
PFC Gardner has had the slowest time of the day so far for the obstacle course. She's clearly exhausted.
So how hard was that when you just went through?
It wasn't easy.
How tired are you right now?
I'm good to go. I just need a little break.
But there's still one key task left. Inside the battle room, she works confidently and efficiently. She correctly identifies the dead patient. Then she finds something the other students had all missed.
Done.
She'd internalized the core teaching, CBA, and a little extracurricular reading helped.
He's still, in essence, bleeding out, on his backside.
I read a really good book about a medic in Vietnam that his first patient died because he didn't find an exit wound.
Exactly.
So I always remember that.
And that sticks with you.
PFC Gardner's current assignment is as an ambulance driver. She expects to be deployed to Iraq in the fall, where she could be assigned to a unit as a combat medic.
When I was a little kid, and you ask little kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a cop or a fireman or whatever. I wanted to be a medic in the Army. I don't know why. I'm crazy. I don't like getting paid much, I guess.
The Army plans to establish 13 advanced schools for combat medics, incorporating the approach used here at Fort Campbell. And other military services are looking at what's being done here, too.
Now, see that button there?
Yes.
Roll it with your teeth.
As far as reiterating back into the world and getting reacclimated to talking to people and such, this has basically been the best therapy any soldier, myself, and I can say from talking to others, it's the best therapy you could possibly have.
Sergeant Lewis is talking about the free steak dinner offered to Walter Reed amputees, their families, and friends every Friday night at upscale Fran O'Brien's restaurant in downtown Washington, D.C. It's a chance to socialize, even cut loose a little. Sergeant Michael Buyas has become a regular.
There's a lot of people who support the military, and there's a lot of military veterans and amputees, actually, that come here that really help me get along. Just made me feel better about my injuries and, to see other people that had injuries like me.
I'm doing well. I'm doing better than all these other people that have the same injury as me, who can't speak, who can't walk or anything, and I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful.
Specialist No was hit by 4 grenades. One blew a hole in his skull. He's had multiple operations in Washington and back home in Minneapolis. And he's had to relearn basic daily living skills, like dressing and feeding himself.
This whole part is all plastic.
The device was made at the National Naval Medical Center by dental technicians like Petty Officer Gwen Guilford. Working with a model of each patient's head, the technician makes a casting of the missing skull area using many of the same materials used to create dentures.
We polish it till it's really shiny like this, make sure that it is the correct fit, and then it will go down and get sterilized. And this is actually what the patient will receive.
Specialist No is determined to stay in the Army, even though he can't remain an infantryman.
Other people join because college and they want to get money for college. I want to be a soldier. That's been my dream since I was 7 years old. And now that I am, I want to stay a soldier.
As Specialist No fights to remain in the service, Captain David Roselle has returned to duty in Iraq, the first amputee to do so. He lost his right foot when his Humvee rolled over a landmine on his first tour. This time, he worried when a long march began to tire him out.
From the very beginning, being tested like that was good and bad. Bad because it
it wore me out. And I thought, man, what have I done to myself? But good in that, I watched the people around me, and they were just as tired, and it wasn't just me and me being an amputee. We were doing hard stuff.
Captain Rozelle commands a regimental headquarters company and now spends only about half as much time in the field as before. He says he'll resign if he can't keep up with the physical demands of the job, but he's fairly certain he and others can.
We're going to have to get used to seeing these guys around, and I'm not going to be an anomaly soon. There's going to be several of us.
One may be Major Tammy Duckworth, who lost both legs when her helicopter was shot down by a rocket-propelled grenade.
When people sat down with me to talk to me about what I wanted to do and set my goals for my recovery, I told them that I wanted to stay in the service and I wanted to fly helicopters for the Army once again. And nobody laughed at me, nobody looked at me like I was insane, and they all just said, well, let's sit down and see what we need to do to help you fight that fight.
But even if soldiers have to leave active duty, programs have been put in place. The Army, first to establish what's called the Disabled Soldier Support System, pledges to keep in touch with veterans for up to 5 years, providing the disabled with information and essential services.
I'm just calling to check on you.
Now, a new DoD center provides similar help. The Military Severely Injured Joint Operations Support Center tracks veterans' progress and takes calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's staffed by civilian nurses and social workers with military liaison officers and promises personal counseling and follow-through. They're prepared to help severely injured service members and veterans deal with practically any issue, inside and outside the military.
We've helped them with financial issues, which is actually our number one. Immediate financial support is our number one issue. To employment, to help with VA benefits and accelerating some VA entitlements that they have, to really anything you can name.
We've seen the dedication of the caregivers and the determination of the wounded. As they transition to civilian life, the challenge becomes how to continue to bind their wounds with the necessary medical and emotional support. It's a challenge that will face American society for years to come. I'm Air Force Sergeant Daniela Marcus. Thanks for joining us for Recon. We leave you now with some final thoughts from some of the service members you met in this program.
Until you hear a 22-year-old say to you, I should have been dead 3 times. It's like, wow.
To civilians, I'd say don't stare at people, because I've seen it where they'll just sit there and stare at you and it's real rude. To soldiers, when you hear the mortars coming in, don't just stand there like I did, run away.
That's the beautiful thing about it. A lot of them have a lot of heart. You don't see that every day in a lot of places.
I would like other amputees to know that things are rough in the beginning, and there's a lot of pain, but you get used to it.
Or I have pain, and I'd be so happy that I had that pain because I know that I got feeling down there now. So every day you look for something new that you couldn't do the day before, and I just keep challenging myself.
There's no jealousy. When you see somebody stand up walking, even if they seemed more jacked up than you when they got here, and they walked quicker than you, you're like, that's awesome. You're really happy, genuinely happy for people, and it just makes you want to work harder.